Thank you again for tuning in. Of course, we have technical difficulties. Listen, I thank God for tonight. I promise not to keep you on long tonight. This is my show. Hey, woof. My show is Living Water. This is the Living Water Show, and I'm your host, Apostle Terrence Greer. Listen, I truly believe that this season is a great season. I believe that God is going to do some very unique things in this season. I believe God is going back to his original plan, his original design, and what he desired for us. I'm going to read my foundational scripture, and I want you to stay with me tonight as I try to put all of this together to give you an explanation tonight of what God is desiring for us to do. My foundational scripture is in Joshua chapter 1. I start in verse 2. Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. There shall no man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee. Be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swore unto their fathers to give them. I read that because I want us to understand something of significance. And when I say God is going back to his original plan, if you would go back to Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26, it says, God say, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the things that creepeth upon the earth. So God would give man dominion, right? He would give man dominion. But the dominion that he gave man was from three different dimensions. Over the fish, which represent the water. The fowls of the air, which represents the air. And the land, right? The fish, the fowls of the air, over the cattle, everything that creeps upon the earth. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, God will take the word Terra Firma. Our topic tonight is Terra Firma. The word Terra Firma, it means earth, but it means dry land. It means dry land. One of the definitions or the phrases or terminologies is dry land. And one of the things that God would do, he would create Adam from the terra firma. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, it states, and God said, let us make man. After God made man, the Bible said in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, and God took the dust of the earth, and God breathed into the dust, and man became a living soul from the terra firma. From the terra firma, and God was give us dominion over everything that would be in the terra firma. Now I'm saying this to say this, that this is a season where God desires to give us the terra firma. The land, yes. The earth. But I want us to hear this, please. The terra firma is not just in reference just to man alone. No. Or just to the earth. Terra Firma also represents man. It's twofold. It's two-part of dimensional, which means the terra firma, which represents the earth, and the terra firma, which represents man, because God created man also from the terra firma. It is our responsibility. Okay. When you look in the book of Romans, it states that the earth groans, waiting for the earth has an earnest expectation and waits for the manifestation of the sons of God. So God would create the terra firma, which is the dry land, which is the earth. And then the earth now is waiting for the terra firma, which is mankind, to align to God's original purpose that was here from the beginning. Yes, the earth understands us as we should understand the earth. So God created Adam from the earth, the terra firma. So the terra firma, and God would tell man to multiply, replenish, and subdue the earth, right? So he multiplies and subdue the earth. Adam has to have a consciousness of seeds and seasons, right? So man was created from the soil, the terra firma. So man should understand the soil, the season, and the seed. Man should understand with the terra firma the soil, because he came from the soil, the seed because the seed goes into the ground, and the season. This is three different things that man should understand: the seed, the season, and the soil. Yes, we came from the soil. So the earth looks for those who have an understanding, who God's original plan was for them to understand the terra firma. Yes, the earth is still waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God to align themselves to understand the seed, the soil, and the season. Yes, so we should understand every season, every time. Yes, please hear what I'm trying to say tonight. This terra firma, everything that God would do and that God would govern, when it was concerning man, it was always the land. Oh, I want to take you back to Genesis. I want to take you back to Genesis, where God would tell Abram, I want you to walk northward, southward, eastward, and westward. The first person that God, outside of Abraham, outside of Adam, that God would give the terra firma, he would make a promise to Abraham, as the same promise that he would make Joshua in Joshua chapter 1, when it was concerning Joshua himself. Walk in every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon. God said, I will give it to you. But the first person that God would give those rights to walk would be Abram, not Abraham. It would be Abram before his conversion to Abraham. And God wanted Abram to walk the land. It was a promise. God told him that this promise of the terra firma, I want you to stay with me, because this is going to be a dimensional, two-part dimensional place, because God just don't want just the land or territory. God needs the other terra firma, where we were created from. He needs that land too. So God will tell Abraham and give Abraham a promise that the earth would understand and resonate to Abraham's footsteps. To Abraham's footsteps, and God would secure the terra firma, the land, because of Abraham's obedience when Abraham would walk on the land. Now, you do know that the earth is smart. When Adam disobeyed God, the earth knew he disobeyed God and wouldn't yield him fruit. When Jesus wanted to curse a fig tree, because the fig tree didn't obey the law that God set for nature to produce. The terra firma, yes, the earth itself, would dry the roots that was in the earth the earth would relinquish the roots, and the roots itself would dry up without the source. I want you to hear me. So the earth is smart. The earth is intelligent. The earth understands. Oh, okay. If you think the earth is not understanding, if you look in Revelation chapter 12, it said there was a great serpent that was after the woman who was carrying the seed. The Bible said the serpent opened his mouth and a flood came out of the serpent's mouth. The Bible said that the earth, when it saw that the woman was in danger, the earth itself opened up to help the woman escape the flood. When Moses was in trouble back in his day, do you know that the Bible said there were 250 people that would come against Moses? Dathan, Oram, and Abiram, these three people, but it was 250, well known, the Bible said, in the congregation. And Moses would make a statement, today we're going to find out who's on the Lord's side. And the Bible said the earth opened up and fire came out. We call it hell's fire. The earth was assisting Moses in his endeavors. The earth is equipped. The earth is intelligent. We must understand how intelligent the Terra Firma is. The Terra Firma, that you can plant a seed, and the seed will germinate and produce as the Terra Firma would cover. The earth is smart. The earth is intelligent. This is why in the end times that this earth would be destroyed, but there will be a new heaven and a new earth. Why? Because God still looks, even in the beginning, the old time, the new heaven and the new earth, that would be a Terra Firma. I'm saying this to say this. I said that to say this, that this is the season where the prophecy of the promise of land is now coming. Yes, that God is about to release land back to those who he's promised. I don't want you to think that you're just getting a house that's in some geographical location. No, God is saying, I'm going back to my original plan, and that is to give people land. It was the promise that he gave to the children of Israel. And that promise is in Exodus chapter 3, verse 17. And that promise says, and God said, I will bring you up out of the affliction. He was talking to Moses, of Egypt, unto the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, and a land flowing with milk and honey. The first thing that God was promised them out of the land of Egypt, because of their affliction, the first thing that he would promise them is land. It was land, the responsibility. But please hear me. I want you to hear me tonight. There's a promise of land. There's a promise that God would promise Joshua, that every place that the sole of your foot tread upon, he said, I'm going to give it to you, right? Joshua had to get to the place for the promise to be fulfilled. You have to now get to the place where the prophecy of God's promise could be fulfilled. Oh, Jesus. You have to get to the, I want you to understand everything that Joshua would do in his regime. His leadership would be with his feet. Please hear me. Please. Please. Now, I want you to hear what I'm getting ready to say. This is Spirit Radio, and I need you to be attentive. I want to take you through some scriptures tonight to validate my point and what must be done. Because I think we assume that we can get prophecies or come into our future when there's no fight. No, there must be a fight for future. Because the enemy understands that the land that God has promised, listen, God promised Abraham some land that other people took possession of. I'll explain it in Numbers chapter 13. We're going to come all the way. We're going to go forward just to come back to Joshua chapter 13, Joshua chapter 1, so you'll understand it. Numbers chapter 13. And we'll start in verse 26. And they went and came to Moses. Now this was the children of Israel, 12, he sent 12 leaders into the land of Canaan in the time of the harvest. He would send 12 spies into the land of Canaan, but I want you to hear what I'm getting ready to say. You cannot enter into your future if there's no fight. Please hear what I'm getting ready to say. You cannot enter into your future if there's no fight. The promise and the prophecy is connected to the fight so you can enter into your future. I'm getting excited. I'm trying not to get excited. You must understand that you cannot get what God desires if there's no fight. Ready? I'm going to show you what fight you're going to be in first. Okay? The Bible said, and they went, verse 26, and they went and came into Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran and to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, we came into the land where thou sentest us, and surely it is flowing with milk and honey. And this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. I want you to hear me. And the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it. For we all, Jesus Christ, for we are all well able to overcome him. But the men that went up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel. The land, though we have gone to search it, is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and the people that we see in it are men of great stature. And we saw giants, the sons of Anak, which cometh up of giants, and were in our own sight as grasshoppers, as so we were in their sight. Now I want you to hear this. This is one of my prerequisites of you entering into the land. According to 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7, I want you to hear this. The Bible says, God has not given you the spirit of fear. Jesus Christ. And the first thing that hit them was fear, and the spirit of fear was there to cancel out their future because they got intimidated by what they saw in the land and they didn't want to fight. The first prerequisite is what God didn't give you. He did not give you the spirit of fear. It doesn't matter what's in the land. It doesn't matter what's on the land. It doesn't matter what's trying to keep you out of the land. If God has given you a prophecy and given you a promise that he desired to fulfill, then he's going to give you the strength, the authority, and the dominion to be able to fight and take over what's in the land. Now, I'm getting excited. I'm trying my best not to get excited. I'm trying my best not to get excited because Joshua is fighting an old battle. Woo! Joshua is fighting an old battle that God desired for him to win. In order for him to possess the land, Joshua has to go back in time, but to seize the time that he's in order to take the land that God wants him to be in. I want you to hear what I'm saying. Some of you, God is going to have you to fight an old battle. Yes, an old battle where other people have lost. Where other people cannot defend. Lord, I'm getting excited. I'm trying my best not to get excited. I'm getting excited. I want you to go to Genesis chapter 6. Let me show you where this old battle is. And some of you, God is going to let you fight an old battle. An old battle where men and women have lost the battle. But God is bringing you back to an old battle so that you can win. Go back to Genesis chapter 6. Remember it said there were giants in the land. The sons of Anak. I want you to hear this, okay? This is the old battle. In chapter 6, verse 2, it said, and the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair. They took them wives as all they chose, right? Which they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Watch, verse 4, there were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown. I want you to hear this. Joshua is fighting giants that were created when the sons of God took women and they became, watch, and they had children. These were called a culture of people called the Nephilims, giants. Joshua is fighting an old battle that he need to win in order for him to possess the Terra Firma. Yes, the land, the territory. God said you must fight an old battle. And some of us, God is calling and requiring us to fight an old battle. Please hear me. I don't want you to go get a house and think God just wanted you to have the house and not the community. I don't want you to go, please hear me, to get a house and think that God just wanted you to have a house so you can show it off. No, I understand what a testimony means. This is not about a house for a testimony. This is about God taking the territory, taking back the schools, taking back the community, taking back the hospitals, taking back the stores. Everything in that community, God desires for that. And God is trying to bring you into a place where people have lost an old battle, but you're going to win. You are going to win this battle. God guarantees that every place. Okay. I'll give you one of my testimonies, and I'll try to cut it short tonight. I'll try my best to cut it short tonight. When God told me, he said, I want you to move in this neighborhood. I didn't even know where the neighborhood was. I didn't know the name. And I remember God telling me one morning, he said, this is the neighborhood. He gave me the name of the neighborhood. I turned to my wife and I asked my wife, I said, you know this neighborhood? She said, yes, I know that. I know exactly where that neighborhood is. I'm like, okay. And I went to the neighborhood. I said, okay. And I looked at, they so happened to just start building homes, model homes there. And I called my wife and I said, honey, when you get off, I want you to come look at this neighborhood. She said, where's the neighborhood? I told her where the neighborhood was. They closed at 6 o'clock. My wife didn't get there at 7. They said, no, we'll wait. They got there. We selected a house. And I had my wife to select the house that she desired. She selected the house, and God said, this is not about the house. I want the community. And all hell broke loose. There was stuff in that land, in that territory that God wanted out. There was something called a jackal. Yes, this spirit that I had to deal with was a jackal. And I know some people may think this is like a small fox, an animal. No, you would have to go back to the Egyptian days that the jackal is called like a spirit of death. So I had to deal with the spirit of death in order for other people to move in this community, for them to have liberty, for them to have freedom. Yes, God wanted to make sure that he would secure the community so other Christians can now come in. But he wanted the terra firma. Yes, he wanted the terra firma. And this is what I'm explaining to you. There are things that you may have to fight. There are things that you may have to endure. There are things, because God is looking for those who desires terra firma. Now, this is just natural land. Natural land, right? This is just the natural land. Can I show you scripturally? I told you it's two sides. It's not just the natural, but it's also there's the spiritual. Well, God just don't want the physical land, but if Adam was created from the terra firma, God need people too. He desires to snatch people too, because Joshua's assignment and Jesus' assignment was the same. Joshua gathered land, but Jesus gathered people. I want you to see this. I want you to go to John chapter 4. I told you, I promise I'm not going to keep you long tonight. John chapter 4 and verse 4. Jesus made this statement, and he must needs to go through Samaria. Then cometh he to the city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near to the parcel of the ground that Jacob gave his sons Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied of his journey, sat on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. Then cometh a woman to Samaria to draw water. Jesus said unto her, Give me to drink. For his disciples were gone away into the city to buy meat. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealing with the Samaritans. Now I'm going to stop it there. We know the song. We know the song. We know this scripture very well. That Jesus said, I must go through Samaria. And oftentimes we correlate or grab or focus our attention on the woman's pattern of behavior. But can I go just a little deeper for 1 second? You would have to go back in time and go through scriptures, because there was a king of Samaria by the name of Ahab. His wife's name was Jezebel. And Jezebel would take over Samaria. She would take over the entire country and bring Baal in. Yes, we know the famous scriptures that when it was concerning Elijah the prophet, that in 1 Kings chapter 18, there would be a battle between the prophets of Baal in order for Jesus, or in order for God, to bring the peoples or break the spell that was on their mind. Remember what Elijah said? How long will you halter between two opinions? Either serve God or Baal. Right? We know that that territory was taken through perversion. Yes, we know that that territory was taken to perversion. So when Jesus said that I must go through Samaria, Jesus needed two things. He needed to do two things. He wanted the land back, the terra firma, the natural land. But he needed the terra firma, the people that he created. Remember what the woman at the well said. There is no dealings with the Jews or the Samaritans. I want you to hear what I'm getting ready to say. They assumed that Jesus was a Jew, not a God. I'm going to say that again. They thought he was a Jew and not God. No, God needed his people back. He needed the land back. So this is the reason why he had to go through Samaria, because he had to break the barriers that the spirit of perversion and that the spirit of Baal that was there. This is why Jesus asked her, where's your husband? I know you don't have any husband. He said, no, you don't. The woman that you had 5, and the one you sleeping with ain't yours. Jesus would tell her, because that spirit that was in that land was still successful by having that spirit of perversion still to be active in the community, still to be potent in that community, that spirit of Baal. So when Jesus said that he had to go through Samaria, it wasn't now, I'm going to tell you something, Jesus was pissed off. I hate to say the word pissed off, but Jesus was upset because now Jesus needed the terra firma. He was taking them both back. He was taking them both back. The woman, he gave this woman living water. He took the terra firma. And the woman went into the city and told the men, come and see a man that told me everything about myself. And the men would leave the city. Yes, please hear me. And watch this, even though they hated a Jew, but it was something about the Jew that they didn't see the Jew, they had to see God. And that city was delivered over to God, and those people were delivered over to God because, watch, Jesus took the terra firma. I am a living testimony of God taking the terra firma. Yes. Remember Saul, who became Paul, who was killing Christians, throwing them in prison, was on his Damascus Road experience? And Jesus, a light shone from heaven and blinded him. I want you to hear this. Blinded him, and in the process of that light blinded him, Jesus took back the terra firma. He took back what I consider to be the dry land. He took back that land. Jesus took the terra firma. And Paul would go on to write 2/3 of the New Testament because God took the terra firma. Yes, I never thought God can take my terra firma. He took the terra firma. And what God is doing in this season is taking back the terra firma, bringing men and women into salvation so they can possess their land. You do know that the gospel, that Jesus would tell his apostle, it's time for you to further the gospel. He said, go into all the world, the terra firma, and preach the gospel unto every creature. It was the mandate of Christ before he left, was to possess God's possessions again. This is our season. Please don't think that God is just going to give you land and give you a house just to heap it upon your lust. No, he's going to give you a house to give you the terra firma. As with Joshua, please hear me. If I can show you something tonight, you will find the same scriptures mirrored in the New Testament. I want to show you something in the book of Joshua. Go to Joshua chapter 6. In Joshua chapter 6, they would destroy the city of Jericho. It was the first time that God is now fulfilling a prophecy that he gave somebody who stepped on the grounds first. They would destroy the city, and in then destroying the city, Joshua would make a statement. Anybody that builds Jericho, let them lose their first child, their youngest, and their old child in building this city back. Joshua would speak a word that will solidify his approach. You know, in the New Testament, Jesus would make a statement to his apostles. He said, anybody who doesn't receive you, shake the dust off from you, from your feet. And this city would be worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. He would go back in time. God is so serious in this season by taking land back, houses back, people back. He's serious about taking and adhering to the instructions that's in this season so that the prophecy and the promise would be fulfilled for the Terra Firma. I'm praying that y'all hear me. I said I wasn't going to be long tonight. This is a season where some people are about to get homes, land, that you never thought that you would ever obtain or achieve. This is why I said I give you houses that you didn't build. That the territory that Joshua would go in, the houses that was there, they would defeat their enemies and live in those homes. Some of us, God is about to use to take people back, to take his property back, because this is the year where God is resetting his promise that he gave from the beginning. I pray that you are ready for the Terra Firma, for the assignment. Listen, I thank you for tuning in tonight. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you next Thursday on Living Water.
Hi, everyone. I'd like to personally thank you for participating in our online broadcast at Deliverance Temple House of Refuge. We pray that you enjoyed the message. If you're not part of our online family, please subscribe to our channel and never miss one of our life-changing and uplifting broadcasts. If you are in the Pearland area on Sunday, join us at one of our powerful worship services at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., or 12 p.m., or on Friday at 7 p.m. We look forward to serving you, your family, and friends. If you happen to miss one of our messages, you can find them on one of our platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. We truly appreciate you investing your time with us.